fucking liar! I didn't say
Would you shut the hell up?
One crime spree, one dusty bar, and one of the craziest genre shifts in movie history. From Dusk Till Dawn starts as a gritty Tarantino-style crime thriller and then flips into full-blown vampire horror halfway through, leaving audiences stunned. Directed by Robert Rodriguez and written by Quentin Tarantino, the movie became a cult classic thanks to its outrageous mix of blood, bullets, and B-movie madness. But what happened behind the cameras was just as insane as what made it on screen. Here are 20 weird facts you didn't know about From Dusk Till Dawn, 1996. Number 1. The original idea came from makeup legend Robert Kurtzman. From Dusk Till Dawn didn't begin as a Tarantino-Rodriguez brainchild. It actually started with special effects wizard Robert Kurtzman. Known as one of the founding members of K&B EFX Group, Kurtzman wanted to create a film that would showcase his company's outrageous makeup and creature effects. He came up with the concept of criminals stumbling into a bar full of vampires, then decided to hand the writing over to someone with a flair for dialogue. Enter a young Quentin Tarantino, who at the time had just sold his True Romance script and was building a reputation in Hollywood. Kurtzman paid Tarantino just $1,500 to write the screenplay, which turned into the film we know today. What began as a small idea to highlight gore effects evolved into one of the most iconic cult movies of the 90s. Number 2. It was almost a Tales from the Crypt movie. Before it became a cult classic on its own, From Dusk Till Dawn was actually developed as a possible Tales from the Crypt spin-off. In the mid-90s, the HBO horror anthology had just released its first feature film, Demon Knight, 1995, and the producers wanted to follow it up with another wild story. Tarantino's vampire crime script fit the bill perfectly. It had gore, over-the-top villains, and a pulpy tone that matched the Crypt brand. But as development went on, the project outgrew its anthology roots. Robert Rodriguez came aboard, the tone shifted, and it was eventually retooled as a standalone feature. While Tales from the Crypt moved forward with Bordello of Blood instead, the DNA of that concept still lingers in From Dusk Till Dawn, which plays like a twisted horror comic come to life. Number 3. Tarantino almost directed it himself. When Quentin Tarantino first sold his script for From Dusk Till Dawn, he didn't just want to write it, he also considered directing. At the time, Tarantino had just broken out with Reservoir Dogs and was in pre-production on Pulp Fiction, so he was quickly becoming one of Hollywood's hottest filmmakers. But Tarantino realized that his attention was better spent on his rising career as a writer and director of original projects. Instead, he decided to step back and let someone else bring the vampire mayhem to life. That's when Robert Rodriguez, fresh off the success of El Mariachi and Desperado, stepped in. Rodriguez's kinetic style and love of grindhouse cinema made him the perfect fit, and Tarantino still got to stay heavily involved, playing Richie Gecko and helping shape the film's wild tone behind the scenes. Number 4. Salma Hayek was terrified of snakes. One of the most unforgettable moments in From Dusk Till Dawn is Salma Hayek's fiery dance with a massive python draped across her shoulders. But what fans don't realize is that Hayek was absolutely terrified of snakes in real life. When she first read the scene, she flat out refused to do it. Director Robert Rodriguez, never one to back down, told her if she wouldn't go through with it, he'd cast someone else, specifically Madonna, who at the time was interested in the role. Faced with losing her big break, Hayek agreed, but only after undergoing counseling to face her fear. With no choreography and no rehearsals, she improvised the entire dance on the spot, creating what's of the most iconic and hypnotic scenes of the 90s. Ironically, the scene that scared her most ended up making her a star. If you're enjoying this so far, hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome movie facts. And tell us in the comments, what movie brings you the most nostalgia, and which one should we cover next? Number 5. The non-union crew nearly caused a strike. Behind the bloody fun of From Dusk Till Dawn was a production decision that sparked serious controversy. Despite having a relatively large budget for an indie horror film, around $19 million, the producers decided to hire a non-union crew. For a project of that size, the expectation in Hollywood was to go union, and the decision ruffled more than a few feathers. Word quickly spread, and it almost led to a strike that could have shut the whole movie down. The choice was likely made to keep costs lower and allow Rodriguez more freedom to work with his preferred team, but it came at the risk of industry backlash. Ultimately, the movie pushed through, but the non-union controversy left a shadow over the production. Ironically, the film's renegade spirit behind the scenes mirrored the outlaw vibe of the Gecko brothers on screen. Number 6. Green blood saved the movie's rating. From Dusk Till Dawn is famously gory, but it nearly got slapped with the dreaded NC-17 rating. The MPAA was cracking down on excessive blood and violence in the 90s, which was bad news for a vampire movie drenched in carnage. To get around this, Robert Rodriguez came up with a clever workaround. Instead of bright red blood, he used dark green for the vampires. The change gave the gore a more fantastical, comic book look and, most importantly, meant the censors didn't count it as realistic blood. With that trick, Rodriguez was able to unleash gallons of splatter without facing cuts from the ratings board. It not only saved the movie's theatrical release, but also added to its surreal, grindhouse aesthetic. Fans didn't care what color it was. By the end, there was more than enough blood to go around. Number 7. Tom Savini really knew how to use that whip. Effects legend, Tom Savini didn't just play his iconic biker-turned-vampire character, he brought real-life skills to the role. In the movie, he cracks a whip with perfect precision during the big showdown, and those stunts weren't handled by a double. Savini is actually skilled with a bullwhip in real life, so he performed all the action himself. His expertise gave the scene an authentic edge, making his character stand out even more in a movie full of outrageous personalities. Director Robert Rodriguez leaned into Savini's unique talent, letting him show off in ways that audiences still remember today. It's no surprise that one of horror's great effects masters also had this unexpected skill hiding up his sleeve. Number 8. Cheech Marin played 3 different roles. Cheech Marin didn't just show up once in From Dusk Till Dawn, he played 3 completely different characters. First, he's the suspicious border guard who questions the Gecko brothers. Later, he reappears as the loud, over-the-top doorman outside the infamous bar.
You can find cheaper pussy anywhere! Fuck it!
And finally, he pops up again at the end of the movie as Carlos, the Gecko brothers' contact, who reveals the shocking twist about the bar's true nature. Robert Rodriguez loved using the same actor in multiple roles, and Cheech's versatility and comedic timing made it work perfectly. Many fans didn't even realize it was the same person during their first viewing, which only adds to the movie's playful, grindhouse spirit. It's a classic Rodriguez touch, blurring the line between comedy and chaos in the middle of all the blood and vampires. Number 9. Clooney's tattoo took hours every day. One of the most striking things about George Clooney's Seth Gecko is that bold, tribal-style tattoo snaking up his neck. But what looked like a permanent part of his character was actually makeup, and it had to be reapplied every single day of filming. The design stretched from his arm, across his shoulder, and up to his neck, meaning it took hours in the makeup chair before Clooney could even step onto set. Despite the hassle, the tattoo became such an iconic part of the character's look that it's often the first thing fans remember about Seth. Clooney himself has joked that while he loved the effect, he definitely didn't miss the daily grind of sitting still while the makeup team painstakingly reapplied it. Sometimes the little details are what make a character unforgettable.
Kate, do you know where I'm going? Do you know what El Rey is?
Number 10. A clever nod to Hammer horror. At one point in the movie, Tom Savini's character suggests a way to fight the vampires by putting 2 sticks together to form a cross. It's a funny throwaway line, but it's also a direct reference to classic Hammer horror films. British actor Peter Cushing, famous for playing Professor Van Helsing, often used improvised crosses to battle Christopher Lee's Dracula in that legendary film series. The line works on 2 levels, both as a practical piece of vampire fighting advice and as a wink to horror fans who grew up on Hammer movies. It's the kind of sly in-joke that Rodriguez and Tarantino love to sprinkle into their films, rewarding eagle-eyed viewers with a little extra layer of genre history. Number 11. The movie was banned in Ireland. When From Dusk Till Dawn was released in 1996, not every country welcomed it with open arms. In Ireland, the film was outright banned by censors, who described it as irresponsible and totally gratuitous violence. The decision wasn't just about the gore on screen, though. It was also influenced by real-world events. At the time, Ireland was still reeling from 2 high-profile mass shootings, and officials feared the movie's over-the-top bloodshed would stir controversy or backlash. While fans around the world were embracing its wild blend of crime thriller and vampire horror, Irish audiences had to wait years before seeing it legally. The ban only added to the film's cult reputation, proving once again that when it comes to censorship, controversy often fuels a movie's legacy rather than burying it.
It's not how it's done. Do you understand that? Do you just say fucking yes?
Number 12. Salma Hayek's dance was completely improvised. Salma Hayek's fiery entrance is one of the most unforgettable scenes in From Dusk Till Dawn. But what many fans don't know is that it was almost entirely improvised. Director Robert Rodriguez gave Hayek no choreography and no rehearsal, telling her to just feel the music and make it her own. On top of that, she had to perform while handling a massive snake despite her very real fear of reptiles. Hayek leaned into the moment, blending her nerves with confidence to deliver a hypnotic performance that instantly became iconic. The fact that it was unscripted only makes it more impressive. What could have been a disaster turned into the scene that launched Hayek into stardom and solidified From Dusk Till Dawn as one of the wildest cult films of the 90s. Number 13. Rodriguez recycled props from Desperado. Robert Rodriguez has always been a resourceful filmmaker, known for stretching his budgets in creative ways. When making From Dusk Till Dawn, he actually reused several props and set pieces from his earlier film, Desperado. The 2 movies were shot close together in Mexico, so it made sense to repurpose whatever could be salvaged from the earlier production. Weapons, bits of furniture, and even some of the bar elements were carried over, helping keep costs down while still giving the movie a gritty, authentic look. Fans of both films sometimes spot familiar details in the background, which only adds to Rodriguez's signature, homemade style. It was a clever way to save money, but it also reinforced the shared grindhouse feel that connects so many of his projects.
They asked us to do a panel discussion about violence in movies in the 90s, even though it was only 92.
Number 14. Clooney wasn't the studio's first choice. It's hard to imagine From Dusk Till Dawn without George Clooney as Seth Gecko, but at the time the studio wasn't convinced he could carry the role. Clooney was still mostly known for playing Dr. Doug Ross on the hit TV series ER and hadn't yet proven himself as a big-screen leading man. The executives pushed for more established movie stars, but Robert Rodriguez fought hard to cast Clooney, believing he had the right mix of charm and menace to pull off the character. In the end, Rodriguez won, and Clooney's performance became a turning point in his career. The role catapulted him from TV heartthrob to Hollywood star almost overnight, proving that sometimes the risky choice ends up being the perfect one.
And change the name of this place to Benny's World of Blood.
Number 15. It won big at the Saturn Awards. While From Dusk Till Dawn didn't set the world on fire with critics when it was first released, it found recognition where it mattered most, among horror fans. At the 1997 Saturn Awards, the movie walked away with the prize for Best Horror Film, cementing its cult status. Even more impressive, George Clooney picked up the award for Best Actor for his role as Seth Gecko.
Wow. All right, so I'm not winning director.
It was one of the first times Clooney was recognized for a big screen performance, helping to solidify his transition from TV to major movie star. For a film that some dismissed as a campy vampire flick, winning 2 major awards proved that Rodriguez and Tarantino had tapped into something special, making a movie that was as stylish and fun as it was bloody. Number 16. It spawned sequels and a TV series. From Dusk Till Dawn was never meant to be just a one-off cult film. Its unexpected success led to a whole franchise that stretched far beyond the original. First came 2 direct-to-video sequels, Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money, and From Dusk Till Dawn 3, The Hangman's Daughter, the same year, which acted as a prequel. While they didn't reach the same heights as the original, they kept the blood-soaked mythology alive. Years later, Robert Rodriguez returned to the property with a full TV series that ran from 2014 to 2016 on his El Rey network. The show expanded the backstory, explored Aztec mythology, and gave fans a deeper dive into the universe. For a movie that started as a low-budget script, its influence stretched across decades, proving its lasting cult power.
Which one? This piece of shit here, man. Broke my finger and my nose.
Number 17. Sheriff Earl McGraw lives on. The movie opens with Sheriff Earl McGraw, played by veteran actor Michael Parks, who doesn't make it very far. He's killed off in the very first act. But Tarantino and Rodriguez weren't done with the character. They loved McGraw so much that they decided to bring him back in later projects, creating a kind of shared cinematic universe. Parks reprised the role in Tarantino's Kill Bill, and again in Rodriguez's Planet Terror, part of the Grindhouse double feature. Despite being dead in From Dusk Till Dawn, McGraw kept popping up, becoming one of Tarantino and Rodriguez's favorite recurring characters. It's a perfect example of how the two directors mix and match characters across their movies, giving fans little Easter eggs that tie their wild worlds together.
Guess you heard about that shit up in Abilene. Bank robbery.
It's all been on the box office.
Number 18. Tarantino's first paid writing job. Before Quentin Tarantino became one of the biggest names in Hollywood, Dusk Till Dawn marked his very first paid screenwriting gig. Special effects legend Robert Kurtzman approached him with the idea and offered him $1,500 to write the script. At the time, Tarantino was still working at a video rental store and hustling to get his writing career off the ground. That small paycheck may not have seemed like much, but it gave him the opportunity to turn Kurtzman's concept into a feature-length screenplay. Just a few years later, Tarantino would become an Oscar-winning writer for Pulp Fiction.
That's cool. Charlize is my neighbor. Very nice to get this from you. Thank you, Mr. Hoffman.
But it all started with this gritty vampire crime film. It's wild to think that one of Hollywood's most celebrated directors got his first real break with a project that began as a low-budget monster movie. Number 19, Juliette Lewis landed the role. Thanks to Tarantino.
Well, other places have beds too, and they also have a gym.
Juliette Lewis, who plays Kate Fuller in From Dusk Till Dawn, wasn't cast through a traditional audition. Instead, her role came about thanks to her close friendship with Quentin Tarantino. The two had worked together before, and Tarantino was a big fan of her fearless, edgy performances in films like Natural Born Killers. When it came time to cast the preacher's daughter who gets swept up in the Gecko brothers' chaos, Tarantino suggested Lewis for the part. Robert Rodriguez agreed, and she was quickly brought on board. Her presence added another layer of unpredictability to the cast, since Lewis had already built a reputation for portraying intense, offbeat characters. It's one more example of how Tarantino's personal relationships shaped the film and brought in actors who perfectly matched its wild, cult energy. Number 20. Production was delayed by fire, dust storms, and a strike. Making From Dusk Till Dawn was almost as chaotic as the movie itself. During filming in Mexico, the production faced one setback after another. A fire broke out on location, causing unexpected delays and forcing parts of the set to be rebuilt.
Really skinny and had very specific body type. And also, I think those guys...
Then came brutal dust storms that made shooting nearly impossible, with cameras and lights constantly clogging up in the harsh conditions. On top of that, the controversy over hiring a non-union crew meant the threat of a strike was hanging over the entire project. At times, it seemed like the film might never be completed, but Robert Rodriguez and his team pushed through every obstacle, determined to finish. In the end, the disasters only added to the movie's legend, proof that even behind the scenes, From Dusk Till Dawn was a fight for survival. And that's 20 weird facts about From Dusk Till Dawn 1996. From green blood to career-making roles, the chaos behind the scenes was just as wild as what made it on screen. Hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments which movie we should cover next.